hashtag DEL, hashtag SCR. You guys already know how to do it. We've been doing it 18 times this year. It all comes down to this: Deleters versus Skill Cap Red.
Yep, last weekend we saw Deleters send Skill Cap Red to the lower bracket, and then Skill Cap Red actually ended up rematching them and taking the Deleters down. So it's a 1-1 tied series between these two. Right away, Big Mex, he's going to get opened up onto. Looks like Skill Cap Red, they want to get aggressive early on. Bash onto Zuniaki. Is there going to be a follow-up trap? Yes, there is. Actually, no, there's not. Lily is the one that gets put into the trap. Peter now under fire, trinkets out, survival instincts, trying to keep himself alive.
Yep, and we can see Lily's actually running the Dark Archangel, whereas Zuniaki isn't. So this is similar to what we saw yesterday in North America, where Milkman made the adaptation away from the Dark Archangel, maybe playing that Empowered Dome for the Power Barrier, giving it the 60% damage reduction, 2-minute cooldown. Interesting to see. We'll be double checking that. Of course, you can use the Twitch extension to see that for yourself as well. We see now stuns coming out over onto Cassidy. Cooldowns being popped by Adam Rex as they get the fear over onto Lily, but a good preemptive pain suppression should deny a lot of the damage. Now Big Peter caught up in the stun.
Yeah, and Big Peter, he doesn't have anything to keep himself alive. He's caught into the stun behind the pillar. Might have to use the renewal. Nice mind control coming in from Zuniaki. He's been doing a good job utilizing that. After the CC chains ends on Lily, Zuniaki will mind control Peter and allow him not to get any heals. It's a very intelligent gameplay. Both teams have stabilized. Lily gets interrupted. Big Peter, though, no survival instincts, no trinket. Keep in mind, Lily, he's playing relentless. If he gets caught into a trap, into a fear, into anything, Big Peter's going to be in a lot of trouble.
He will be, but the Incarnation is active for him. He's saved his, used it a little bit later on, gets caught up in the stun, though. Bit of trouble. He does have the renewal available when he gets out of this, but he needs to survive to it. There we see the bear form is enough to keep him alive. A good power ward barrier coming in from Zuniaki there to mitigate a lot of that Incarnation damage, but now it has expired, of course. Full trap over onto Zuniaki, but Big Peter falls first, and Skill Cap Red take game one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty quick series.
Defensive from Zuniaki.
77% of you think Skill Cap Red's going to be able to take it. They're off to a pretty darn good start this morning. Let's see if they can get themselves on match point.
We'll have to see how they play it out. Once again, normally it's about the Feral Druids in this matchup, targeting them down. Sometimes we'll see the Hunters exchange blows in the midfield until one of the Hunters is out. But actually, until one of the Ferals is out, Peter gets found. He gets flared out. Very nicely done by Adam Rex. Now Cassidy can move in and start getting some damage rolling.
Zuniaki's actually playing the mind games. He's dropped the Premonition this game for the Dark Archangel. So he's basically saying to Big Mex, oh, I have Premonition, be scared of me the entire game, but he doesn't actually have it. So I like that little bait coming in from him, playing those mind games. Of course, Zuniaki, multiple BlizzCon finalist, fantastic player, has the tournament experience, knows where these mind games are going to play to his advantage. He's trading out the Rapture right now, keeping his team offensive. Both these teams trading blows, but not too much forced in the opener.
Yeah, full fear on Zuniaki. Cassidy already running away. This is what he always does in this matchup. As soon as Zuniaki gets crowd controlled, he's out of line of sight. He's trying to avoid Big Peter at all costs. Big Peter actually trinkets out of the stun there. Both priests drop their Dome of Light to avoid incoming damage.
Yep, we see the Empowered Dome on the side of Zuniaki, not so much on the side of Lily. Therefore, Big Peter taking a little bit more damage from this Incarnation trade. Cassidy going all in for it. Now we see the Fear trap over onto Zuniaki. Of course, neither priest playing Premonition, so these traps will sit full in every single situation. Pain suppression on Big Peter now from Lily, preemptively done. Good job by him, keeping his Feral offensive here. The next stun, neither of these Ferals have Trinket, could be big trouble for either team.
Both Feral Druids had Thorns up, and they were just hitting into it. They didn't care. Both Ferals are actually in a stun now as well. This is basically an identical mirror match. Cassidy, I think, is a little bit ahead, but now Zuniaki gets caught into the bash. He gets the pain suppression up on a Cassidy. Cassidy moving in, gets a stun on Big Peter behind the pillar. Gets out of it, uses his survival instincts. That's the last one he has available for quite some time. Cassidy trying to keep himself alive as well, using his survival instincts. These massive Feral defensive cooldowns are going to be fading soon, and now both Feral Druids will be in some trouble.
Yeah, we see Cassidy running away, but he goes back for the reset, gets the full stun onto Big Peter into the big bite, and that's going to be 2-0 Skill Cap Red.
Big Peter was just absolutely... Try to play spoiler and actually affect what the seeding looks like in the EU. Will Skill Cap Red be able to end it here?
As Zuniaki, once again, he changes up his talents, and I really like this. It really affects the way the other team plays, so if you're constantly keeping them guessing on their toes, adapting like that with your talents, it's definitely a very intelligent decision from Zuniaki, and it really shows what a veteran player he is.
Yeah, he's just playing mind games with Big Mex. It's clearly working for his team. He's able to keep them offensive, constantly having a cooldown advantage. They're actually swapping over to Big Mex. Another strategy adaptation coming out of Skill Cap Red here, but we didn't really see this work out for Dilly and Casca's Angels yesterday. They ended up committing a lot of time over onto the Hunter and then going for the Feral anyways. We're seeing something similar here from Skill Cap Red. They're kind of hoping to catch the team off guard, but honestly, Dilly does handle that pretty well.
Yeah, Zuniaki preemptively drops his barrier once again. Cassidy taking a lot of burst. Gets life gripped to safety by Zuniaki, but you can see Peter chasing him down, catches him in a stun. Survival Instincts gets traded out as well. Lily into the trap, preemptively dropping his barrier to help his team, but Peter's right outside of it. Needs to make sure he's actually using that defensive cooldown Lily dropped from him. Is very well placed, but Peter playing a little reckless in this situation.
Yeah, Zuniaki even went for the DR mind control there. He has so much time and pressure in this game. Just feels like he can do whatever at this moment in time. Getting aggressive, though caught up in the double fear right now with his Hunter. Slight misplay on the side of Skill Cap Red. Deleter's looking to capitalize as we see Big Peter once again. Every single time these kind of opportunities arise for the Deleters, Cassidy's just out of there. He runs away, comes back with the stun. Now caught up himself, though pain suppression from Zuniaki will keep him alive.
Yep, Lily has his Dark Archangel up as well. Peter under fire. Survival Instincts used once again. That's his second charge of that. Not going to have it available. Lily uses the pain suppression as well. So the Deleters, in terms of defensives, really have nothing left. Skill Cap Red, all they need to do is land one nice crowd control train on Lily. Lily moving forward, looking for a fear on Zuniaki. Is it going to get set up? Zuniaki there gets put into the bash. Then Lily will be able to land the fear, but a counter bash over onto Lily. Big Max rotting down. Peter rotting down as well. Peter trying to kite away. He realizes he's going to be in a little trouble if Lily gets put into any CC. Look at Zuniaki's run away from Lily right now. Wants to avoid that fear at all costs.
Those angelic feathers, very powerful as we see Premonition faked. Zuniaki therefore uses his fear. Big Max trinkets, gets the trap. Both Ferals in a little bit of trouble though. Big Peter definitely on the run at this moment in time. Cassidy with the bash to follow up over onto Lily. Now we see the Rapture coming out. Big shields on the side of both priests as we are mirroring. Both of them are running low on mana. We're getting very close to the end game here, Ven, and still, honestly, neither team really have the kind of kill in their sights. We have Incarnation coming up in about 50 seconds for both Ferals. We might actually survive till the second round here.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Both priests running out of time with their cooldowns and with their mana. Powered Barrier gets dropped one more time by Zuniaki. Preemptive before the maim. Nicely done. Cassidy in some trouble here. Survival Instincts up in 4 seconds. He needs to hold on a little bit longer. Looking to get aggressive on Peter. Lily into the trap as well. So both teams still mirroring each other, doing an excellent job. Now a maim stun over onto Lily. Peter kiting away. Survival Instincts does get traded out, and they might be able to hold on another 20 seconds. Peter getting low, kiting away. Lily out of the fear, trying to get some heals, but almost completely tapped.
Yeah, it's not very often you see these jungle mirrors go down to the mana war, but really this game is looking so good for Skill Cap. Second Incarnation up in 6 seconds for Cassidy. Zuniaki caught up in the trap right now, but he should be able to stabilize with his Feral Druid caught behind the pillar though. Cassidy in a rare situation where he is caught out. Big Peter still in trouble. Their Incarnation active. Surely this is going to be game.
Yep, this is the enraged timer we talked about. Peter, how are you going to survive this one? Gets in bear form, trying to kite away. Fear secured by Zuniaki. Cassidy getting low in the meantime as well. Is there going to be a cross kill? I don't think so. Skill Cap Red showing dominance.
They definitely do show dominance.
Yes! I've been calling this comp so many times. Outlaw Frost, all the people who play Sub Rogue. This
Watch
is it.
This game. Yeah.
Watch this and
this is going
respect.
to be very interesting. And you wouldn't have expected Tempo Storm to be the one to actually bring it out. Botar on the Priest, Alec on that Frost Mage, and Nixie on the Outlaw Rogue.
XRB to the moon. They're having their PTSD about Waz's Pirate Rogue from all of last expansion. Nixie trying to get a surprise attack here with a composition we haven't seen yet. Outlaw really not showcased at all. It's just annihilating Zeepai at the moment. Huge amounts of pressure throughout this. Hovering very low. Looney still crowd controlled. However, Zeepai is starting to re-stabilize, and as that crowd control ends, of course, Looney will connect heals and save the day. Tempo Storm at the back of that attack, even though it was a lot of pressure, didn't actually result in anything too significant.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, considering I don't think any of us expected Tempo Storm to lead with the Rogue Mage Priest here, especially not the Outlaw. This is something that Zico's been talking about, and I could see his face very excited about throughout the entire season. Outlaw is back, but XRB to the moon, once again, showing they're a very well veteran team. Even with this kind of curveball thrown at them, they answer it very excellently at the start of this one. We can see Botar, of course, going to be the target of choice for the Turbo Cleave. Now we need to see Tempo Storm getting aggressive somehow. They need to get something going here, Seth.
Warrior Enhancement Shaman are probably the best two classes together to kill a Discipline Priest. So that's going to be the high priority target for XRB to the moon, is get as much uptime on Botar as possible. They can force the most amount of mana usage, they can force the most amount of cooldowns, and probably kill him. But the risk of that is that Botar can, of course, out-position his opponents, such as this, by dragging in Blizzo and Zeepai out of line of sight of Looney. Looney can't heal them, and they fall behind. So it is a risky, high-value decision to go after Botar. And right now, it seems to be paying off. XRB trading Trinket for Blind. Fair play from Looney. I'm curious to see if they may look for a cheeky swap to Looney in the future. They could punish that trinket usage. So far, XRB to the moon, as we expect them to be, are a brick wall. I'm curious to see if Tempo Storm are going to find a way around them.
Yeah, they're really struggling. It looked like a great setup there with the smoke bomb and everything from Nixie, but they didn't force a single trinket on the DPS. They didn't force Astral Shift, so really nothing doing. Blizzo once again caught up in the stun, but XRB to the moon are just all over this game right now. The only kind of thing that's going okay for Tempo Storm is that the mana's even. Botar's been doing a fantastic job buying his team time, but at the same time, he's also used a lot of his defensive cooldowns. The pain suppression's down, the Rapture active right now. He's starting to drop low on mana, and this is something that XRB to the moon love to do. They love to whittle their opponents down, just survive long enough. Now we see a big swap coming over onto Looney, though, Sid.
Yeah, that swap is what I was expecting from Tempo Storm. It was really the only clear open target that they had, and they managed to pull Barkskin from Looney. So now they've got a 53-second window to set up another one of these swaps. They got Zeepai's Trinket. If they get that double Psychic Scream and switch targets, Looney is going to be incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, Looney is the best target of this situation. We have the Barkskin, we have the Trinket down on him. One of the things I do want to call out is Zeepai is actually playing every single thing defensive. He has 3 stacks of the Azerite Fortification trait, which basically means whenever he gets stunned, rooted, crowd controlled in any form, he's going to get a big heal from that, meaning that he has a lot of sustained. In addition, he's also playing the Veiled Eye trinket that we've known from the last couple of tournaments as well. So he's defensive, but this is the swap over onto Looney. Big damage coming out late. Good defensive fear. Is it going to be enough? DR cheap shot. They're looking for the kill. Here comes the Iron Bark. Looks like Looney might be able to escape because of those peels from Blizzo.
The polymorph on Zeepai was just a little bit too late, and as soon as that enhancement shaman gets out of crowd control, he's going to be pumping a ton of heals. They make a swap to Blizzo. He's caught in a stun, barely getting that die by the sword off on 10%. Looney struggling to pick him up. I really like the plays from Tempo Storm, switching targets, trying to go after the most vulnerable, going after targets that don't have that Gladiator's medallion to get out of crowd control. It's smart play by Tempo Storm, but XRB to the moon, they stay alive, and the longer they do so, the more uptime they get on Botar, the further ahead they ultimately will be. If we take a look at the Gladiator's medallion situation right now for XRB, Looney is now no longer the most vulnerable. His is available. Zeepai, on the other hand, he's in a 20-second window. If we look at Nixie, he has Smoke Bomb in 10 seconds. There's a 10-second window right now where they can either kill Blizzo or Zeepai, but Tempo Storm need to execute cross-crowd control, which means crowd control on all 3 members at the exact same time so that they can't assist each other. If Tempo Storm can initiate that, they've got an opening. 50 more seconds, and at this point, they likely have to do it on Blizzo. They're trying to squeeze it in here on Zeepai, but they don't have it, and this is smart play by Alec. Hold on to the Ice Form. Blizzo has to be the target to take down. XRB to the moon need to prepare to protect Blizzo.
I mean, I'm starting to wonder if they can just win this game by attrition. Tempo Storm are playing fantastically. Botar is the only disciplined priest I've seen go up against XRB to the moon and live until
this
dampening.
Is the Smoke Bomb.
Now comes the Smoke Bomb. This is a lot of damage on Blizzo. Those Zeepai's in it will be able to get out those heals, but look at the mana. As soon as Innovate disappears from Looney here, he's basically going to be out, and now we see the full stun coming over. Zeepai should be low on mana, still able to get the heals out onto Blizzo. Trinket on blind is something we expect here from Looney, so he's going to have that, but look at the mana situation. Botar's been doing so fantastically well on just kiting, using those Frost Mage slows, and he's actually up right now, slightly said.
All right, the next game-winning play here is going to be blind for Nixie as Outlaw. You can talent to have 30-second cooldown reduced blind, which means it's a minute and a half. Gladiator's medallion is 2 minutes. That's a 30-second window where you normally can't trinket blind against Outlaw. But Zeepai and Blizzo both have their trinkets, so Tempo Storm are going to just have to hammer down with tons of damage when Looney is in that blind. If they don't have the tons of damage, then they're not going to find the kill. It's at the end of its rope at this point. Both healers are out of mana. Cooldown window is more in favor of Tempo Storm. They're actually making a swap to Looney, trying to go after the most vulnerable, the target that doesn't have Gladiator's medallion, and they might be able to squeeze it in. 5% remaining HP. Looney hovering. He manages to stay alive, but at the expense of the rest of his defensive arsenal. When dampening gets to this critical mass and the healers are tapped on mana, you have to expend more cooldowns than you otherwise would. Now they switch to the other most vulnerable target, Blizzo. Tempo's targeting decision in this match has been perfect. This is the Rogue Mage
thing, but now the difference is going to be Dalaran Arena, a smaller map, so that's going to favor XRB a little bit better.
Now let's take it a step further, though, and really think about how crazy it is to think about that team that's been split up. You got Botar, Blizzo, and Swapsy all on 3 of the favorite teams to potentially win BlizzCon, and Fabs is just waiting on an island right now, and he goes, yeah, if anyone catches up to me with the 3 BlizzCon wins, maybe I'll team with you again.
Yeah, and I mean, we see it once again here. Tempo Storm, the only team that could beat them last year at European Regionals was Method Triforce, and guess who was the healer on that roster? It was Botar. Now he's back, but the other person we should talk about is Blizzo, of course, who was on that killer roster, and he has been on fire this season. Great peels coming out once again here to deny any setup onto Looney.
So Looney has made a strategical change here. He knows that the blinding powder reduces the cooldown of blind, and he can't trinket it every time. So instead of running Gladiator's Medallion, he's running Relentless, which just reduces all incoming crowd control, but he can't break them immediately. It just reduces the duration. Now the risk with this is if he gets stunned out of bear form, he doesn't have an option to get out of it and go into bear form. He has to just survive the stun lock, which Tempo Storm are trying to exploit that as the weak link. They've gotten his Barskin with the first stun. Now they're swapping to Blizzo and trying to make Looney panic with the smoke bomb. They make Looney jump in. Then they get a stun into a polymorph off the back of the smoke bomb. Tempo Storm play is looking great. Unfortunately, on this map, Botar is a lot easier to get to. It's just a close quarters. He's not going to have that much larger pillars he had on the Grand to avoid them. And this is also a nice adaptation by XRB, hitting multiple targets when Botar gets too far away. Switch some of your attention to the Rogue. That forces Botar to come back. Now he has to deal with 2 targets at dangerously low health, and it's not a great position. He's caught in the stun, and he's also running Relentless. He's not able to get out of it. He's barely hanging on, but it's not enough. Perfect map selection, nice strategy adaptation by XRB to the moon.
Find ourselves in a situation, it's all tied up, 1-1, XRB to the moon versus Tempo Storm, and this is a matchup that we expect to go back and forth. The question is, can XRB break the script? Can they gain momentum and take away that advantage that Tempo Storm gained by getting the first win in this series?
I think it's important to take into account that Nixie won BlizzCon on the Windwalker Monk with Alex Mage, so they are very familiar with this composition, and they played it with a dampening style, which makes me expect them to do the same here on Tolvaron Arena. The Windwalker Monk just going to be rolling around, looking for those burst moments while the Mage crowd controls everyone and they elongate the match, and they're looking to try and win on mana, win in dampening against XRB to the moon. But XRB to the moon, they're the kings of dampening. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to out-dampen them.
I mean, this is a classic Alec, right? Like, he always thinks of these things, as we see a nice vortex coming in from Botar there. He always thinks of these strategies that someone else wouldn't necessarily think of. When you think of the Mage, you normally think of like going for the quick game, going for the kills. They've actually picked up a really nice strategy here. You can see they're definitely playing for that attrition war, playing for the long game. Botar already committing his Tree Form and Innovate first few seconds of the game because he wants to stay offensive, and like we were calling out in the pregame, like Zico was saying, they can really burn down at the mana of Looney if they get the double stuns, get the damage, use Kleptomania with perhaps a counterspell or an in-cap over onto Looney. They'll generate a lot of pressure, and Looney's constantly going to be catching up, but it's dependent on Nixie being able to kite out this damage here.
And another thing to take into account is that Windwalkers in Legion, when Nixie won, they had a lot of self-sustainability. When they would portal away, that would allow them a big heal, and they had a lot of healing abilities in general. They don't have that. So the Windwalker Monk is a lot more vulnerable in this expansion, and that's why XRB to the moon, they know that. So they're going after the weak link, which is the Windwalker. And right now, Nixie is not dealing with it to the best of his ability. He's doing his best, I guess, but he's forced all of his major defensive cooldowns at this point. He's trying to push in for another swap onto Looney. This is an aggressive play when he's already behind. Blizzo tries to punish with the intimidating shout on Botar. If Nixie can't get away, he could be going down very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not looking great for Nixie, but he does have Botar on his back. You can see he's utilizing the fact that this is not only a composition pick from Tempo Storm, this is also a map pick from them. This is an entire kind of draft. They've decided on the biggest map in the pool, Tolvaron Arena, and Looney knows what the win conditions are here. You can see he's looking for drinks immediately in the game, getting up to full mana, not really scared of the incoming threat from Tempo Storm, and despite the fact Nixie's in trouble, with Botar backing him up with this big map, he should have the opportunities to kite, but he needs to be very careful, especially since he's without that Gladiator's Medallion right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a very scary moment on the next Stormbolt for Nixie. He's got that touch of karma coming up in 10 seconds, so he can trade that to prevent his own death. But he would like to hold on to that, I think, so he can stay aggressive, because the pressure that XRB to the moon have forced Nixie to just be running away for most of this match. And if not, he gets stunned like this and takes a huge amount of burst. Botar doesn't have much to deal with it. Touch of karma, barely connecting, allowing Nixie to survive. If this kind of momentum stays in favor of XRB, I don't really see Tempo Storm taking this. They get Looney, but of course Looney, he's in bear form. He knows that swap is coming. He actually shapeshifted out of bear form on the stun. That's a pretty big blunder on Looney's part, and maybe cost him more cooldowns than otherwise. At the start of that chain, I was thinking, yeah, nice job, Looney, but ended up throwing it away a bit by shapeshifting out of bear form, and it cost him 2 for 1. Now there's a 25-second window that he could be in danger. Unfortunately, with leg sweep as the only stun on Windwalker, it's not going to be up in that window, so Nixie needs to extend the game even further.
I really like the way Botar's playing here. He's actually not using the Iron Bark on any situation where he thinks he doesn't need to use it. A lot of Druids would just kind of train it out on the Storm Bolts, especially since Nixie didn't have a trinket for that last one there, but instead he trades out the tree, trades out the Innovate. You can see both these Druids, such high caliber, sitting down for drinks constantly, understanding the entire flow of the game. But as dampening starts to stack, one of the big things that saved Looney in that last setup was the fact that Zeepai is just able to spam out those healing surges, the off-healing utility from the Enhancement Shaman. As dampening stacks, it's going to get more and more scary for Looney, and Nixie, if he can keep using the map to his advantage, keep kiting around, that's not affected by dampening.
I mean, I feel Tempo Storm, they need dampening to kill basically. The only target that they can possibly take down is Looney. So before dampening, they make these swaps to Looney. It also puts him in a position where he might think that he's the target deep in dampening, but I think the Warrior is actually the kill target. This situation right now where Blizzo is 20%, if we're at 30% dampening, he's dead. So this is exactly what Tempo Storm need to implement on. Their targeting is great, going between the Druid and the Warrior. I would like to see a bit more crowd control on Zeepai, maybe more Cyclones or Polymorphs, but I guess Botar doesn't want to give that potential away. If he moves forward for Cyclones like this, he can get switched to. Could be a risky move. Good crowd control from Blizzo. I really think that Blizzo is going to be using his utility a lot more to win the game, to end the game, rather than to delay it, because the longer they delay it, I feel the more favored Tempo Storm are going to get. They make a swap over to Botar. They caught him off guard. Is he playing that Feral Affinity is the question, because if he's not, it's going to be very difficult for him to recover from these swaps. And if XRB to the Moon steal the strategy that Tempo Storm are trying to implement, Botar could also be in danger in dampening.
It does look like he's running the Guardian Affinity. I'm pretty sure we saw the Frenzy Regeneration there. Of course, that's one of the big advantages of that Guardian Affinity. It's basically a heal. Heals for 25% of your health, as we see another swap over onto Looney right now. Nixie and Alec doing such a good job with these swaps. Zeepai, though, able to get out the off heals, keep his Resto Druid alive. Another good Vortex on the Wild Charge coming out of Botar. Once again, these Druids, every single time their team goes offensive, all three members are on the same page. They all push in, they all help however their classes can do so. One of the other things I do want to call out, though, is when they're doing these swaps to Looney and we see Blizzo come back to peel, that's actually where the AoE damage comes in from Alec and Nixie. Zico in the pregame is talking about if they kind of cleave both the DPS. Actually, what they're doing is cleaving Blizzo and Looney, similar to what we saw in the Rogue Mage pre-game, and as dampening starts to stack, that's going to get more and more scary. Looney will struggle to keep up.
Yeah, and XRB to the Moon, they've got an opening 50 seconds left on Botar's Trinket, so if they go for a charge, Storm Bolt, huge swap to Botar, he could get caught off guard, and if Alec doesn't save him, ultimately go down. At the moment, it seems like XRB to the Moon are switching their targeting quite a lot. They focused Nixie in the early game before dampening. Now they're trying to go after Alec, and I like this play better. Run at Alec, but attack Nixie while you're running at him. That way you're putting pressure on two targets. Nice swap by Nixie, catching Looney out of bear form there. That was a good play. This touch of death could be devastating. Blizzo saves the day, though, with a double intimidating shout. Alec is already on low health. XRB are trying to make it difficult for Botar to predict the targeting. They bash Botar out of that intimidation shout, make a swap, force his hand. Tree of Life used before we're at really of a critical mass. Botar has been using Tree of Life in a lot of these matchups, and I think he's probably one of the only Resto Druids that does it. What the advantage of it could be is that in deep dampening, you pop that Tree of Life, that's a 30-second window of go, go, go time as a Druid. You're just going to be doing so much healing that it's almost impossible to push you over. And when you're in deep dampening, you need that to keep your team sustained and stay in the face of your opponent. Looney's not going to have that big, powerful wave on his side, but he should have the mana advantage, but he's not even getting that. So it might just be that Botar is slightly ahead of the meta, realizing those kill windows in the matchups. If they can cycle to that second Tree of Life and then make a big push with it while they've got that 30-second window of basically we're not going to die, I think Tempo Storm are going to be taking this.
Yeah, I mean, the Tree of Life brings a lot of things, right? But the Cultivation, which is presumably the talent that Looney's running instead, it's not just mana efficiency, it's also just more healing. Like, it counts towards your mastery, gives you an extra 10% or so. We see big damage now, though, coming out by Tempo Storm. You're trading out that Frozen Orb once again. You could see how devastating that cooldown is every time. Available for Alec, of course, he's using his Blizzard to kind of reduce the cooldown of that orb as much as he can, because it is one of the big damage offensives for the Frost Mage. And whenever he can get it up, he's getting both of these targets down to about, 60-50%, causing Looney a problem, and that's where the Tree of Life would potentially come in useful to catch up. With 20% dampening now, Botar looking very confident, has his trinket, has his bark skin, looking for a little bit of an offensive push here over onto Looney.
The one playstyle for Turbo in particular, so the Warrior Enhancement, is what I like to call the pinball strategy, where you're just bouncing off any target that gets near you as much as possible and trying to put as many targets behind. That's what XRB to the Moon are doing right now. They're pinballing between Alec and Nixie. Botar has to spend way more mana to heal 2 targets, and if he gets caught on the target that doesn't have Life Bloom, where all 2 people connect, he's in a lot of trouble. Nixie, on the other hand, is making swaps, so he tries to catch Looney out of bear form with that paralysis, then leg sweep him, such as this situation, puts a lot of pressure on Looney. Nice Vortex from Botar. It might be a game-winning play. It's costing Looney a lot of cooldowns. If Nixie and Alec can stay on target a little bit longer, that Fist of Fury flying in, Looney manages to duck for cover and survive, but we stack in another 10% dampening. They don't make it out of that situation alive. So far, Tree of Life is cycling back up. Tempo Storm are going to have that for a big wave push later into the game. Looney is going to start feeling the heat soon.
Yeah, and they actually forced the Veiled Eye proc on Blizzo there as well, so that's not going to be up for the next couple of onslaughts coming in from Tempo Storm. This is starting to look fantastic for the roster. Botar sitting down for a drink. Nixie has that touch of karma, so he's going to be fine as well. Both of these healers now will be at full mana, and I think this is a huge advantage to Tempo Storm. You can see that Tree of Life cooldown we were talking about for Botar up in about 10 seconds here, and because of that, they're going to have the opportunity to get very offensive in the near future. Looney has his trinket. That's kind of the last line of defense for the team, but if you don't do enough healing, it's not going to be enough. We see Nixie pushing in. Maybe they're looking for a swap on Blizzo. They're a little bit indecisive here because Looney got that fantastic primitive bear form. They're going after Blizzo though, Sid.
Yeah, as a single target, he's not in the most danger in this position. Looney deflects the attack quite easily. It seems like Tempo Storm, they've been overextending themselves there, and they really wanted to go after something, but they need to be hitting 2 targets at the same time. Double leg sweep on Zeepai and Blizzo, or a double leg sweep on Blizzo and Looney, or a triple. Triple would be the best situation. That way, Alec can just shred into the entire team. If they're only going after 1 target, they're not fully taking advantage of the spread pressure of Fist of Fury and the spread pressure from Ice Nova and Cone of Cold from Frost Mage. So they want to make sure that they're at least hitting 2 targets on those burst windows. If they don't, Iron Bark, which is a cooldown the Restoration Druid has, it's 9 seconds, 8 seconds available for Looney again, is very effective at stopping damage on 1 target. So you need to make sure that you're hitting 2. You can't use it on 2 members. So Tempo Storm just need to be patient, try and bait XRB to stack up, but XRB are making that difficult. That's why Blizzo is going on Nixie and Zeepai is going on Alec. They spread themselves apart. They don't stack up for double stuns. Then they collide when they have a Stormbolt available. XRB are implementing an excellent strategy. Now they're making the swap, both colliding on Botar, but they've stacked up, double stun. This could be a swing in either team's favor as huge damage comes in on both sides.
Yeah, that was a big play there for Tempo Storm. Look at the pressure they're starting to generate now. Serenity committed. That was also a lot of damage from Alec. He still has his Icy Fiends available. Oh, actually, sorry, he's running the Ice Form on the other side there, so he did use that. That was all the offensive. We see Touch of Death. They're trying to tunnel down Looney right now. He's really struggling to keep up. Nixie needs to be a little bit careful, though. Does have that Touch of Karma, but now that they've forced out the Bark Skin and the Iron Bark, if they can get another good swap over onto Looney, he won't have any of those damage mitigating cooldowns, and it could be a fantastic push, potentially a game-winning push for Tempo Storm.
I mean, both Druids are in trouble. Botar's not going to see another Tree of Life. That allowed his team to be completely stable for that 30-second window, but they want to get a kill in that 30-second window, and they didn't get it. So now Botar will lose the sustain healing that Looney has with his talent decisions, which now puts the advantage in favor of XRB to the Moon. Tempo Storm need to look to end this game as soon as possible, but there's no clear target. Everyone has Gladiator's Medallion on XRB to the Moon side. They can get out of any incoming stuns and immediately trade defensive cooldowns. Looney in this situation can use the Gladiator's Medallion. He's trying to play the slower match by trading Barkskin, a much more efficient trade, but it's also risky at this high of dampening as Blizzo now dips low. Tempo Storm are implementing that double target strategy. It's throwing Looney for a loop. He has to recover 2 targets at the same time. In the meantime, Botar getting spell reflected on his Cyclone, getting outplayed a bit there by Blizzo. It's going to put him a little bit behind. Blizzo's trying to punish that mistake and go after him.
Yep, Blizzo and Botar, former teammates. Blizzo gets the best of that exchange, though. This former Triforce squad, you can see the success they've had on these rosters as we're at 47% down, 47% healing reduction, but you're not doing any healing in that counterspell, Looney. Blizzo in trouble. Comet Storm comes crashing down from Alec as he's looking to end the game here. Kills off the grounding. Nixie in trouble. Does have that touch of karma, though. Looney once again manages to somehow, some way recover his team's health pool, but you can see the big cooldowns are coming up. Serenity's available. before Ice Form's almost available. Tempo Storm will look for the kill with this next setup.
With how much healing enhancement Shamans bring and how much control Mages bring, basically both teams are playing the same strategy. Build up, save, and store all of your big burst damage, and then one single movement, one single swoop at high dampening when the other team can't recover, you just push all of it into their face. At this point, it could even result in a cross kill. Looney getting swapped to. He's trying to go for the efficient trade with Blizzo's support. It may be possible, but Blizzo's also dipping low. The double targeting strategy is working out for Tempo Storm. Dampening's that critical mass, and Looney will fall. Tempo Storm implementing great strategy here on game 3.
Keep in mind, if you're like, wait, that's not what I'm experiencing on live, you have to think these guys have a little bit more Azerite power than you may expect on live, but this could end it. We're on Ruins of Lordaeron. Tempo Storm leads by 2.
It would be a fitting final resting place, as it is a cemetery. And the last time I really saw Botar and Looney go head-to-head in a turbo mirror was 2015. It's been 3 years since I've seen these teams go head-to-head in a mirror like this, and so far, momentum seems to be in favor of Tempo Storm. They're just doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, ironically, in 2015, Looney was actually playing with Jamie and Nixie at the Turbo Cleave. Now he's got Blizzo and Zeepai on his team, and I mean, let's weigh this up pound for pound. Botar, Looney, you wouldn't put a bed there either way. Jamie has been playing Enhanced forever. Zeepai, of course, known more for the Elemental Shaman. Blizzo's an absolute beast. I wouldn't necessarily weigh him down, but this is a very even matchup in terms of players, and once again, Tempo Storm, this was their counter pick in favor of XRB to the moon, and they've come out even the odds. They have a very reasonable game here, and we already saw what Jamie can do on that Enhancement Shaman. A lot of procs. When you come in with those Storm Strikes, it's going to be absolutely fantastic damage, and I mean, if they can just get a Gib here, they'll take the series.
I mean, right now it's just a brawl with 4 players just sitting on top of each other doing as much damage as possible. Neither team really can afford to move. If you're a Resto Druid and you start to cross the map to try and crowd control the other Druid, you're not casting regrowth and you're not healing, so you're falling behind as you cross the map, and basically both Druids are pinned down in one place because each team does so much damage. They see a swap here on Botar, they catch him out of form, he's forced to trinket. That's going to be a lead for XRB to the moon. If they can just stay on target, maybe Botar just falls over. They've managed to force his hand. So many defensive cooldowns on just one swap. They've still got pressure. Jamie's trying to support, but he's spending all of his Maelstrom on healing, which means his damage is going to start to fall behind. This swap from XRB paid off immensely.
Yeah, not only that, it means you're cleaving everyone. Nixie Kassab can't use his die by the sword and ends up falling there. Beautiful play by Blizzo, and I mean, XRB still king of the turbo.
And you know, but honestly, this has just been such an incredible series to watch. It deserves this game 5 to settle it. Tempo Storm has the advantage from winning the first game. XRB to the moon is going to have to play flawlessly. Who's going to take it? Tempo Storm or XRB to the moon? The winner of this has not dropped a single series in the tournament and will get the first place into the grand final.
XRB to the moon have been, I believe, undefeated in this season, so Tempo Storm are looking to be the first team to take them down as they rise back to power with Botar being brought in. It seems like they've breathed new life into their team. Momentum has been insanely in their favor. They're outthinking their opponents. Their strategy's on point. XRB to the moon are playing a lot more aggressive here in game number 5, which is a risky decision against a composition that wants to stack targets up, but it might be ultimately the correct one. We saw deep in dampening that they were more disadvantaged, so potentially running down the healer could be their only option.
I actually think playing aggressive is absolutely the right call for XRB to the moon in the early game, because Tempo Storm honestly has very little kill threat with this composition before later dampening, and because of that, XRB to the moon should try, you know, maybe they catch Botar. He has no trinket, no bark skin from that first onslaught. If they can catch him in the Stormbolt, perhaps into a DR bash from Looney, that can easily be the game right there and then, so definitely got to respect the incoming pressure from the Turbo Cleave. They're really tunneling down Botar. They catch him out of form here. Battle stance on Blizzo. They're going for this DR cap totem. Now we'll see that counter pressure you're talking about, Sid, with the Frozen Orb from Tempo.
Yeah, Zeepai will be under fire as well as Blizzo. I like that Tempo Storm are adapting to XRB's adaptation. If you're going to run at our healer, then we're going to go after your DPS members because they're going to overextend and line of sight your healer. So this is a nice move on both teams. XRB to the moon implements a new strategy. Tempo Storm receive it and they adapt instantly. And this is the highest level of play you're going to see in Arena. Neither team really tunnel visioning into any strategy in particular. particular, trying to mix it up and keep the other team on their toes. Now we see Blizzo going after Nixie, trying to force Botar to switch his HOTS onto a different target, and more likely to catch him out of bear form as well. This is just top-level play.
You actually saw Botar go for a cheeky little stealth there. And one of the things I want to call out, because obviously in Legion, when you saw mages and druids playing defensively, they would go for this kind of like spamming out the polymorphs into the cyclones, but it's actually not necessarily beneficial for Tempo Storm because Botar wants to keep his mana high, and one of the things people don't necessarily know about Battle for Azeroth is that Cyclone actually costs more mana than a spell like Regrowth, for example. So you want to be kind of being conservative with your mana. If you don't need the Cyclone, it's often better to just kind of kite away in these situations, and Botar doesn't need to win the game right now. He knows that he'll win if he gets to, you know, 40, 50, 60% dampening healing reduction. That's what he's playing for, and he's just playing it defensively, utilizing that big map perfectly.
Yeah, as you said, Tempo Storm's goal is to just survive. Stay alive as long as possible, get to the highest amount of dampening you can, and then look for a double kill on either Blizzo Looney or Zeepai Blizzo. That's the main objective for Tempo Storm strategically. They've brought the best snaring class in the game, Frost Mage. It's going to be making it almost impossible for Blizzo or Zeepai to attack a target. Blizzo's, interestingly enough, gone for the Gnome race so he can get Escape Artist, so he can get out of snares and roots more effectively. That's a nice strategy choice on his part against that of a Frost Mage. But they've also paired it up with a Windwalker Monk, which is one of the highest mobility melee in the game and is reasonably self-sustainable if he can cast a Fuse on himself, or Vivify, I believe now, behind a pillar. So but Tempo Storm have just crafted this composition that you can't catch. It drags it out into deep dampening and then goes for a giant wave of damage with Touch of Death and Comet Storm, and at 50% dampening you're not going to survive that wave. So Tempo Storm strategically are favored in this matchup. XRB to the moon are trying to find a way to get around all of that kiting potential, and the only real strategy they have is going after Botar and trying to chase the healer down and force him to make a mistake. But if Botar doesn't choke, I think Tempo Storm are taking this.
Yeah, I think Tempo Storm most likely wins the race as we go further into dampening. But one of the things I do like about the XRB strategy is that if Blizzo actually uses more of his peels on Alec or just damage on Botar, it means he's never going to get cleaved on those swaps to Looney, right? And that was the way they actually won the last game. I mean, yes, it was a little bit of, like, they did kill Looney at the end of the game, but the reason he came out of form in the first place is because he had to hot Blizzo. Blizzo was also at about 10% at the end of that one. If Blizzo uses his Storm Bolts on Alec, uses his peels there, it could be much better.
This is the highest level of Resto Druid play you really get to see. When you're getting attacked and trained down like this as a Druid, you can sometimes escape out of line of sight and very far away and go into stealth. Then your opponents can't see you to attack you. And you don't really think about that in the middle of a game, like, hey, I could go into stealth as a healer. And both Looney and Botar are doing this whenever they can. In the meantime, there is good pressure on Looney. This is a nice setup by Tempo Storm, managing to force Barkskin. I'm wondering if Nixie is now going to adapt to the strategy and just tunnel Looney, and this could end up being a healer race as dampening has set in. This is what the Tempo Storm have been playing for. That red number at the start of your, or top of your screen, that number reduces the effectiveness of healing. So Tempo Storm want to stack that number up and survive until it's as high as possible, really, so that when they go for that big wave of damage, Looney simply can't recover through it. XRB are racing to take Botar down before that giant wave hits them.
Yeah, you can see actually Looney, if you look at the Twitch extension, he swapped away from the Cyclone in this matchup, actually favoring the Overgrowth talent, which is a smart pick against the Frost Mage, because Frost Mage is one of the things they'll try to do when they get aggressive, or any spec of Mage really, is they'll Kleptomania you in the stun, which removes all of the high healing over time effects from the Restoration Druid, which is basically what the Restoration Druid uses to heal. So with Overgrowth, you can reapply all of those HOTS immediately. You get your Regrowth, your Rejuve, and your Life Bloom. And he's also playing the Focus Growth, which is obviously efficiency and just more healing on the Life Bloom. So I really like this choice coming out of Looney. You can see he's healing it very efficiently at this point. We're still at 8% dampening, so Tempo Storm, if it's anything like the last game, it was 51% dampening, so we're still a few minutes away from that there. And Botar, like you said, Sid, he's been tunneled by Zeepai this entire game. A lot of Resto Druids would really struggle with the high damage coming out of enhancements, especially after the buff, but Botar's just kiting constantly, stealthing, doing whatever he needs to do.
That was a nice play by Looney, that Ursul's Vortex. Botar thought he was safe, so he wild charged to his partner. Ursul's Vortex pulled him right back in range of Blizzo and Zeepai, and he had to use his Gladiator's Medallion, so now he can't use that to break out of a stun for a 2-minute window. XRB to the moon have 2 minutes now where they can cleanly set up on Botar for a kill. kill, he's going to have to be even more laser focused than he already has with Blizzo and Zeepai gunning him down. The one thing I really want to highlight with Blizzo is normally we think of Bladestorm, especially Rich, I'm sure. Bladestorm's the big damage ability. You want to be hitting people with that. But instead, in this matchup against a Mage, you use Bladestorm to get to your target because it removes snares and novas, as well as Avatar does the same. Blizzo's been doing a great job cycling through those to stay and get good uptime. It's just top-notch level play on his part. They get good pressure on Nixie. They make a swap to Botar. When Nixie falls behind, this is in the 2-minute window. Is Botar going to fall? Is just jumps to Alex's side. Ursul's Vortex not available, but Zeepai has Ascendance. He's attacking Botar from ranged. Is that going to be enough damage to push him over? Blizzo charges. They need to kill him. They've got another minute to do it. If they don't manage to kill Botar before that Gladiator's medallion is up, I don't know when they're going to. They set up for a swap to Nixie. They've kept good pressure, and this is exactly what you need to do against a Restoration Druid. Have pressure on 2 targets, make it difficult for him to recover. You're more likely to catch him in this situation where he's not in bear form. They're still in that minute kill window. Nice Sunder. XRV move in. Botar hangs on by a thread. Jumps over to Alec. Blizzo in hot pursuit. They chop him up right before Tempo Storm could reach critical mass. XRB to the moon.
On in the tournament. And Skillcap Red, they were able to defeat them quite easily, so we'll have to see if Tempo Storm is just a little bit better at this composition.
I wonder how Skillcap Red are going to start this, because I don't think they were expecting this composition. They could go after Alec and try and take him down before he can build to full Insanity and access that Honor Talent Edge of Insanity, which reduces damage. That seems to be what they want to do. They need to kill Alec basically in a 25-second window of time. If they can't get a kill on him between that window, it's very unlikely to take him down for an extended period of time. Alec trades out Dispersion, but the crowd control chain is still coming. They've crossed crowd control. Jamie can't tremor. Alec in a 3-on-1. Crowd control still chaining together. Alec hangs on. He's almost to that Edge of Insanity. He's almost there, but he's not quite. He has to use the Void Shift to Jamie. Quite a close call for Alec, burning through a huge defensive arsenal. Now they switch to Jamie. Skillcap Red have huge momentum.
I feel like Botar made a huge mistake there, not using his Iron Bark earlier, forcing out Alex not only his Dispersion earlier on, but also the Void Shift, so maybe playing that a little bit greedy there. Unfortunate for Tempo Storm. You can see, actually, Alec, he's going to be playing Pandaren as well, sort of taking a move from WizK.
They're going after Zuniaki. Tempo Storm trying to get aggressive with this triple healer composition, and Zuniaki might be getting caught off guard. He's trying to get back to the pillar in line of sight. Alec, good positioning awareness by Zuniaki. They're kind of just going all in and aggressive, but at a certain point, their steam ran out, so Zuniaki makes that assessment. I no longer need to be out in the open attacking Botar or attacking Jamie, so I'll just retreat line of sight Alec and survive. Good awareness on Zuniaki's part. Now he can extend for a later kill. They didn't get the window, that 25-second window, so now it's unlikely, even though we saw a lot of pressure on Alec, it's unlikely that we see them return to him as the primary target. Instead, the best strategy for them is to go after Botar and Jamie, bouncing between the two, trying to catch one of them off guard. Zuniaki currently crowd control. Cassidy is the primary target for Jamie. Basically, if you can want to tell if Tempo Storm is winning, look where Jamie is, look who he's attacking, and look at their health. Cassidy is just hovering at 50%. Jamie's just bouncing between the two of them. Jamie's pressure is absolutely insane right now. Cassidy is struggling to recover.
Yeah, Alec's been doing a good job with the CC onto Zuniaki, really limiting the amount of heals he's been able to put out. Zuniaki now runs over to Botar, looking for a fear, manages to find it. A lot of pressure on Jamie. Jamie could be in some trouble here. Might have to trade out the Astral Shift if he gets out of the stun. Gonna hold on for now as Cassidy's not there just yet. Still holding on to it, playing it a little greedy, but the Iron Bark will be able to save that huge defensive for Jamie.
A bit of an overlap with Vampiric Embrace on Alec. They actually switched to Botar. They're trying to force even more cooldown overlap. Skillcapped Red really ping-ponging to multiple targets. Best strategy against a Restoration Druid. Skillcapped Red have come to win. We see Botar falling behind. Has to trade out Barkskin now as well. The one thing that Zuniaki's doing phenomenally over anything else is that his mana is in a great position. Adam Rex getting bursted. Trades out that aspect of the turtle. Again, you always got to keep your eyes on Jamie. Just any moment, he's going to just tear in with tons of damage. He's playing that Earthen Spike, and I think that's the most powerful talent for enhancement. Look at this consistent pressure on Cassidy now on the swap. I really think dropping the Ascendance when you're guaranteed to get uptime is a really nice trade. Look at this pressure. Cassidy's still on the back foot. Zuniaki's tapping into his reserves. He's running low on mana now just from the result of Jamie's pressure.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage. The only thing that kept Cassidy alive was the Rapture cooldown from Zuniaki, allowing him to just spam out those Power Word shields consistently. Now that that's gone, Cassidy and Adam Rex could be in some trouble. Another big swap onto Botar. Jamie and crowd control. Very nicely done by Skillcap Red. Botar getting lower. He doesn't have Barkskin, no Iron Bark, no nothing. He has to survive. Tree of Life gets used. In the meantime, though, Adam Rex getting lower. Zuniaki grips him to save his life, looking for the Shadow Mans. Finds it, trying to barely hold on. Adam Rex kiting away quite beautifully, but the crowd control is still on Zuniaki, and eventually Adam Rex will fall.
Adam Rex falls and Tempo Storm go 1-up. So far, though, Tempo Storm 1-up.
I think Disciplined Priest is a good option into this team. There's not really an extended crowd control chain that Cassidy can't break up. He can remove hexes, he can tremor fears, and it's basically a 5-second crowd control chain that Tempo Storm have, and then Zuniaki is free to do as he pleases. He can just spam out smites and do maximum damage. This is that crowd control window right now. Zuniaki stunned silenced 5 seconds. Maybe 5 seconds is more than enough. Cassidy dips low, Mystic dips low. Zuniaki now survives. So the crowd control is over. As soon as Zuniaki restabilizes his team, he can start getting aggressive and pumping out damage, and he could actually win on mana, I think, if they even want to play for a long game. Alec is marching towards Zuniaki for that Psychic Scream, catching Cassidy. No Tremor Totem available. I guess Cassidy tried to preemptively activate it earlier on. That is going to put Zuniaki in a longer crowd control chain than would normally be expected. Cassidy is now feeling the brunt of that at the back of this crowd control chain. Zuniaki recovers. Looks like he's trying to chase Botar, and I don't really like him chasing Botar. I think he should just bunker down and start spamming out smites and really just try and win with raw pressure. Him chasing the Druid, it gives the Druid the advantage.
Anytime Cassidy and Mystic are grouped up, Jamie's doing a lot of pressure. Silence now on Zuniaki. Cassidy getting lower. Astral Shift's been used. Disarm now over on Zuniaki as well. Is there any follow-up CC? Zuniaki trying to get away. Botar moving in, wants to land a bash. Potential Cyclone. Cassidy is in so much trouble. There's the bash on Zuniaki. Cassidy still throwing off some off heals onto himself. A nice power word barrier by Zuniaki mitigates some of that damage. Botar gets swapped to, forces out the bar skin on him, but Alec and Jamie feeling very comfortable in this situation.
I really think Zuniaki might be overthinking this. I really just want to see him sit in one place, spam smite, and do a lot of damage. Right now, he's trying to... Now it looks like he's bunkering down a little bit more. Botar is the one that can be the playmaker for his team. He brings Cyclone, and that 5-second chain gets another 5 seconds added onto it, where Zuniaki can't heal if he can get Cyclones. And he tried to do that earlier, and Mystic really punished him for it by switching with Storm Bolts, and now Botar might be a bit scared to try and do it again because they're really just trying to gun him down. What was that hit? Huge damage. Botar survives. Clutch play by Alec.
Zuniaki going in the back line. I thought he was actually sitting down for a drink there, but unfortunately not finding the time to regen some of that mana. Botar moving into midfield. Alec charging in, lands the fear on Zuniaki, gets Tremor Totem into a silence. Cassidy getting low. No Astral Shift. There's the bash on Zuniaki. He doesn't really have anything to get out of it. There's the disarm on Cassidy. They're trying to make a swap on Botar with counter pressure, but Cassidy might just go down right here, right now. Zuniaki doing everything he can with his Rapture, spamming out the power word shields, and Cassidy barely holds on.
Jamie wants this, man. He's doing so much damage, but now Botar once again on the back foot. Skill cap Red are still in it. Nice totem snipe by Cassidy. Botar is going to fall. These swaps to Botar were well timed by skill capped Red. I thought they were going to play for like a slow sustain game, but instead looked for swaps and burst damage, and I guess they caught Botar off guard.
To be empowering Adam Rex and Cassidy's damage, so if they can pick a proper moment, they might be able to push through some of the defensives that Tempo Storm has available.
I really want to see Tempo Storm just do a huge swap to Zuniaki at some point. Jamie had massive pressure at the start of this game. They're actually going to open up Botar, so this is the 30-second window at the start of the game. Skill cap Red have options. They can either all in the Druid or all in the Priest. This game it looks like they're trying to all in the Druid. So far, not finding too many cooldowns. Botar trades Iron Bark. He's got Efflorescence down, that green circle. He's basically maximized his healing. This is why you can't only attack one target against a Restoration Druid. You'll just have so many heal over time effects. It's easy to predict damage. They ultimately do manage to scare Botar enough to Trinket. That is going to put him behind. Now Cassidy dips low as Jamie is implementing a lot of counter pressure. Diamond Ice Trap by Adam Rex is a nice adaptation that can't be dispelled, so they can guarantee remove support from the team. It may be a case where they're just going to run at Botar start to finish.
I don't know if it's going to work. With the amount of damage Jamie's been able to put out in this match so far, Alec really just focusing on crowd controlling Zuniaki, mind controlling him, fearing him, silencing him. And if he's in all that crowd control, unfortunately Adam Rex and Cassidy will rot down. Zuniaki does catch up. Botar now into a full stun, uses Barskin and Iron Bark. Tree of Life as well, and the Life Grip from Alec. So Tempo Storm really committing a lot. Diamond Ice Trap now over onto Botar as Cassidy is in trouble.
Yeah, Cassidy's been under fire throughout all of this assault. Botar is easily the most vulnerable target in this match. We can see he doesn't have Gladiator's Medallion, he doesn't have Iron Bark, he doesn't have Barskin. He really doesn't have anything. He needs to be extraordinarily careful here. Alec also needs to back him up. He gets stunned out of bear form. They Psychic Scream Alec. He opts to Trinket to support. It's up to Alec if Botar dips low to save him. It's not enough damage. Now Zuniaki on the back foot. Adam Rex forced to trade aspect of the turtle. Slowly but surely, as Tempo Storm start to stabilize, their advantage is going to become apparent.
Yeah, look at these mind controls from Alec over and over. Cassidy getting low. Zuniaki just hasn't been able to heal. Has to throw out the pain suppression to keep Cassidy alive. Now a bash onto Jamie. Good crowd control from Cassidy. They have to slow down Tempo Storm just a little bit, but with Alec just free casting in this matchup, I really don't know how Zuniaki can sustain for long enough.
Void Shift. Botar he's just trading the cooldowns, I guess. Maybe they feel they're going to win, but he gets caught out of bear form. This is a bit of a choke by Botar. Alec is still at low health. Botar needs to at least keep a little bit of an eye out on him. They may switch to him. Botar has just been burning cooldowns so quickly in this matchup. Skill Cap Red have a huge amount of momentum. 60 seconds, that incarnation for Cassidy could be an enrage timer for Tempo Storm if they don't find a kill before it, because Botar has just been hovering at 40% health despite them not even having a lot of cooldowns. He's really having a hard time. He trinkets out, barely stays alive. Alec with good support, but the pressure is just so high. Skill Cap Red, it's Smork to the finish. Run at the healer until he dies, all or nothing.
Yeah, Dark Archangel available in 5 seconds. That's going to be a huge amount of burst for Skill Cap Red. Botar uses the Iron Bark preemptively, but this is such a good window for Skill Cap Red if they want to close out this game. Cassidy taking a little bit of damage as well. Zuniaki has to make sure that his team doesn't fall behind. They need to continue this assault. There's the bash on Botar. Huge amounts of damage from Cassidy, but he gets a huge heal from Jamie and Alec. Beautiful off heals coming in from Tempo Storm.
All right, Botar, you've burned the remainder of defensive cooldowns at this point of the match. You have nothing left to trade. It's going to be a huge amount of pressure going your way. The Tempo Storm need a good crowd control chain. They're starting one right now on Zuniaki, but there's no damage off the back of it. Now Dark Archangel gets activated. Botar's going to be in huge trouble if they can connect. Mind controls from Alec save Botar. Tree of Life becomes available to trade with that incarnation that I was saying could be an enrage timer. But Botar as a restoration druid can also talent into an incarnation of his own, which trades effectively 1-for-1. Botar restabilizes, and this is kind of the robotic play that we like to highlight Botar for, is that even though it looks like he's trading a lot of cooldowns, he calculates exactly what he needs. I was expecting him to go down in this point of the game, but maybe he still will. He gets life gripped away. He's effectively rotating through the cooldowns, but even still, Skill Cap Red have huge damage. Botar is a legend. This pressure is insane. They need to stay in it just a bit longer. Zuniaki's almost tapped on mana.
Yeah, Botar lands the bash onto Cassidy. That gives him a moment to breathe. Into another main stun, though. Has the Iron Bark available, getting tossed out on. So it seems like Botar just always have a cooldown available. Cassidy interrupts him. Botar getting a little bit lower. But if he's in range of Alec and Jamie to assist with those off-heals, I think he's going to be scary. Zuniaki almost completely tapped on mana. Cassidy getting low. Beautiful mind control coming in from Alec. And ultimately, Tempo Storm will claim game number 3.
This series just seems to for that third place seed in Europe going into BlizzCon.
Tempo Storm looking to etch Zuniaki's name into a tombstone here on Runes of Lordaeron. This could be a fitting final resting place. Will they be able to crack the defense? It was a close call on Ashamane's fall. It was not confidence boosting to even say the least. Let's see if Mystic can set up some of those cheeky swaps. Jumping over to Botar. Botar saw him coming. He goes into bear form, makes him much more durable. Nice teamwork by Alec, bouncing Botar back to the pillar. Jamie's gonna have a hard time Cassie's gonna have a hard time connecting. Peculiarly there, Botar actually jumped to Jamie right next to Cassie. I feel like it was a bit of a mistake on Botar's part. Maybe he just wanted to have fun bouncing around, but Cassie's now getting uptime as a result of that wild charge. He's now going to have to trade Tree of Life, and this could be danger time if they can stay on Botar.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on the Botar. Alec had a nice CC chain on Zuniaki, the Quaking Palm into the Silence, into the Psychic Horror. So it's the amount of that's the amount of crowd control the Shadow Priests have available, especially if they are playing that Pandaren race, which Alec is. Been doing a good job with it. Zuniaki stabilizing his team. He's been dispelling a lot of the VTs in this matchup. Wants to keep his team free of those damage over time effects that Alec has available.
All right, Botar gets caught out of bear form. Nice crowd control by Skill Cap Red. They've got good momentum. Sunder connects. How are they going to deal with this? Cassidy, or Alex spamming out mind controls on Cassidy, denying him from staying on target. Good teamwork by Alec. Botar survives. They're still just gunning him down. Now mind controls on Zuniaki to try and force him off target. Botar dashing to safety. Cassidy is actually playing Feral Lunge instead of the Nature's Guardian, so Cassidy is losing defense for more offense and mobility. Skill cap red in this series, due to the lack of diversity, it's all or nothing. They have to do all-in strategies. Outside of that, I don't see them taking Tempo Storm down. But now Cassidy's on the ropes. He doesn't have much to work with. He's getting mind controlled at low health. Alec is just having too much fun with mind control in this game, really. Stormball on Botar, but he was ready for it. He's in bear form. Nice. I don't even know if the life grip was really necessary there on Alec's part. It may have just been not really needed. Now he jumps to Jamie. Botar's just having fun, really, in this game, bouncing around to everybody. And skill cap red, the pressure's on them.
Yeah, it's fun until Mystic and Cassidy get some uptime on you. So Botar is really trying to limit that the most he can by kiting away. And now it's become very difficult for skill cap red. They aren't really finding much pressure. A little bit of damage on the Jamie, but this is the exact situation they want to be in. Tempo Storm's feeling very comfortable with Jamie soaking up most of this damage. Zuniaki's running out of mana, only at 30%. Stun on Botar, but in bear form once again. Botar playing this game much better than we saw on game number 2.
He got sundered on his wild charge that held him in place. He's also playing Typhoon. Botar, this Druid specialization that he's running is built to kite to melee DPS. It's the perfect talent selection to deal with an all-in. If Botar was ready for this, I guess he knew it was their only option was to all-in him. So running Typhoon, he loses his stun with Mighty Bash, but he can get a knockback effect, which is effective against a low mobility such as Enhancement Shaman. The only thing that could cost him his life if he's just having too much fun and he's being too cheeky, overlapping those mobility cooldowns like Life Grip and Wild Charge could be a critical error on Botar's part. So really, overconfidence is the only thing I see that Tempo Storm can be taken down with.
Alec, speaking of overconfidence, he uses a Void Eruption to get into Void form, and now he's going to be losing that precious insanity. Cassidy and Mystic instantly realize it and start applying pressure on Alec. They might be able to force out the Dispersion or the Life Swap here. They can continue this damage, but it seems so far that Alec...
He's not there yet.
Not there yet. This could be the Dispersion. Doesn't want to be too greedy. They do force out the Dispersion. Alec, he has to be very careful making those kinds of decisions.
Like I said, overconfidence, I think, is the only thing that could cost Tempo Storm the match. Alec is barely staying alive. Void Shift to Jamie. That one aggressive move by Alec cost his entire team's defensive lineup. It's also going to make it difficult for Botar to predict who Skill Cap Red are going to commit their burst to. With all 3 members, no Gladiator's Medallion for some time, they are all vulnerable targets. Fortunately, though, Zuniaki's out of mana, so as long as Tempo Storm stay in this, maybe another 30 seconds to a minute, Zuniaki's going to be tapped. They need to take Botar down if they want to stay alive in this tournament. If they can't do so, they will be going home. It will be a rematch between Tempo Storm and XRB. Botar really exploiting that mobility. I really love the Typhoon pickup by him. It seems like he is back in form despite not seeing a lot of Botar throughout the year. Him moving into BlizzCon is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
They just cannot take down Botar. Still has the Bark Skin, still has the Iron Bark. Zuniaki now into the Disarm. Do they have a fear? Anything followed up with that? Cassidy drops the Tremor Totem to allow Zuniaki to get a little bit more healing off. But like you said, Sid, Zuniaki, he's running out of time. Mana almost completely tapped. Cassidy into the cap stun. Do they have the damage to close it out? Nice powered barrier will keep Skill Cap Red alive.
He's got Mindbender that's going to give Zuniaki mana. He's got another 10-second window of mana regeneration to stay in the fight. 10 seconds isn't really a lot of time to do anything unless Alec presses Void Form. He should just take it off his action bar. It's the only way they can lose in this position is if Alec goes into Void Form. He can't make that same mistake again. They've got Zuniaki on the ropes. He's got nothing to work with. His team's dipping low. Jamie's doing tons of damage, and Botar is just untouchable, kiting perfectly on Runes of Lordaeron. He's in bear form for the stun. I think it's unlikely that they take him down. They go into battle stance. Mystic knows it's all or nothing. He needs to just get a kill. Zuniaki's got no steam left. Mass Dispel on Jamie's Psychic Scream. Alec utilizing the toolkit of the Shadow Priest to its full potential, but Zuniaki's just got nothing left. Jamie knows that he's tapped. He's going to switch targets, put pressure on Zuni, and at this point, I mean, Jamie's just going to solo Zuni. He's got nothing. Mystic's trying to back him up and support, but Jamie's just going to trinket the disarm, hammer in with some Storm Strikes. Nice Sunder to interrupt the mind control. Jamie's overextended. That aggressive trinket, they're trying to punish it, but Botar in perfect position to deny it. Tempo Storm have Skill Cap Red in a chokehold. hold on match point. This crowd control chain will secure the kill. Tempo Storm advance for a rematch.
Tempo Storm will advance to the Grand.
Being completely fantastic, can determine what happens to our BlizzCon bracket, which we will reveal at the end of the day. The gates are now open.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand finals. This is the last time you're going to see these teams go head-to-head until BlizzCon, the World Finals. Nixie in trouble, dips low, trades out, die by the sword to recover. At this point, though, XRB have established dominance. That is the most powerful defensive cooldown on Tempo Storm's side, forced out in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and the Cyclones coming in to follow it up from Looney. Excellent turbo play by all three members of XRB to the moon, showing why they've won multiple tournaments running this composition. Tempo Storm, this is the first grand finals they've reached in 2018. Botar on their roster has already shown to be the best thing that could have happened to Tempo Storm this year, and still it's a brave call to go up in the mirror against XRB playing the turbo.
This is XRB to the moon's lawn. This is the Turbo Cleave lawn, and Tempo Storm are trying to intrude on that lawn in a mirror. This is a dangerous move to make. They've tried to steal some of the strategies that XRB used earlier by switching to Looney, but they're not doing it nearly as effectively. They're falling behind on mana, they're falling behind on cooldowns, and they're falling behind on pressure consistently through this. And XRB to the moon, their experience and time spent on this composition is starting to show itself here. Tempo Storm need a surprise kill at this point to be able to etch a win.
Yeah, Tempo Storm intrude on the lawn, but if there's one thing we know about Blizzo and Zeepai is they will mow you down if you get in their way. Botar now caught up in the Storm Bolt, already down to about half of his blue bar, his mana pool. He's not going to be able to keep this up forever. Nixie doesn't have Die by the Sword, doesn't have Trinket, dying through heals at this moment in time. Said Tempo Storm really struggling going into game one.
One reason Looney's ahead on mana, he paired that Innervate with Tree of Life. Botar didn't make that same trade. It lost him a lot more mana on his Tree of Life. Even just a simple mistake on that Innervate gives an advantage now to XRB to the moon. You cannot afford to make any errors in such a high pressure matchup. Both Warriors and Enhancement Shamans just do so much damage. The Druids are pinned down, making hard decision after hard decision to stay in the fight. XRB set up good crowd control and a swap to Jamie. That banks them an Astral Shift. Now both Jamie and Nixie are vulnerable. Botar has to make a difficult decision. Who does he commit the Iron Bark on? If he uses it on Nixie, they can just switch to Jamie. He commits it to Nixie. They switch their attention to Jamie. He's going to be under immense pressure moving forward.
Looney's actually playing with the Cyclone, and he's been getting some fantastic ones. Botar is not even running the Honor Talent Cyclone, so there's nothing for Zeepai to worry about, nothing for Looney to worry about as he pushes in, gets the Mighty Bash pressure in favor of XRB to the moon. We see a good Ursol's Vortex, though, going to deny some of that damage. Tempo Storm are starting to get back into the game, but the mana lead still heavily in favor of Looney on that Restoration Druid. He can keep this going for much, much longer in this situation.
Looney locked down and Windshear Stormbolt crowd control chain, but he Iron Barked right before it. Nice read by Looney. Jamie is the one who's just falling behind slowly but surely. Is he going to be able to stay in the fight? Right now, there's no clear openings. Maybe Zeepai dying in a Stormbolt. That's the only move I see right now for Tempo Storm. The win condition is Windshear Looney, Stormbolt Zeepai, 100-0 him. Other than that, I don't see an opening. XRB to the moon know that they're not vulnerable. They can get a little bit more cheeky. They can get aggressive and go after Botar, try and expend more mana, applying Rejuvenation to all three targets rather than two. Tree of Life been forced once again, but he didn't pair it with Innervate. This is just going to cost him even more mana to recover.
It's really starting to be trouble time for Tempo Storm, and I really like the swaps coming out of XRB to the moon in the mirror. Whenever they can catch Botar out, even when Tempo Storm come back, it's like triple cleave damage. They're hitting Botar and the melee DPS, so it's just far more effective, far more efficient for XRB to the moon. We see Looney pushing in, maybe looking for a Mighty Bash, kiting away from Nixie, taking 0 damage from that swap. He's even restored some of his mana going into dampening here. We see another Stormbolt Ascendance. Zeepai is the only Shaman running that Ascendance, but a good fair shutdown from Nixie denies a lot of that incoming damage.
Yeah, Zeepai activated that Stone Form, and he got punished with an Intimidating Shout. That was well done by Nixie. It denied a lot of burst damage from Zeepai. We see Blizzo disarmed. Looney Stormbolted. Good crowd control initiation by Tempo Storm. And Blizzo trades Very close call, as well as Nixie. I mean, at any point, these warriors could just crumble to the pressure. There's so much damage on both sides. Botar's mistimed innervate has cost him so much mana, though, in this game. And triple crowd control by XRB. Great execution. Jamie dips low, trades Astral Shift, but Looney keeps the chain going. Oh, the Cyclone on Botar. This is going to cost him even more mana. Finally, Tempo Storm striking back. Pressure on Zeepai and Blizzo. Looney trades up, but look, Innervate, Tree of Life, exact same time. All of these spells are free. His mana is going to stay massively ahead, and as we get closer to dampening, the healing is going to become even more restricted. It's going to cost more mana, and with that lead, XRB to the moon should be securing victory shortly.
I mean, it really feels like either of these warriors could die by the sword here. Nixie, though, caught up in the disarm, dropping low, damage from both fronts of XRB to the moon, who are definitely taking that mana lead. And Looney, he's expending his mana happily, knowing he has that advantage. That's one of the reasons that this is so big for the team. He could do whatever he wants in this situation, getting out Cyclones, denying incoming damage, forcing trinkets left, right, and center. Meanwhile, Botar almost out of mana, having to play efficient. Jamie dropping low, Nixie dropping low. Beautiful purge coming in from Zeepai, denying that free healing. Nixie dropping low, almost into execute range. He might fall here.
Both warriors low, but Looney goes for a clone. Jamie trinkets. He gets cloned again. These Cyclones by Looney, keeping Blizzo alive in that close call situation. Even at 6% dampening, Looney's mana lead is almost gone, but Jamie's low. Winter on Botar, he pre-Iron Barked it. He gets Stormbolt on the follow-up. Looney jumps into cross crowd control. Great play by Looney. He was winning the long game. He was winning the exchange. All around, Looney just had a massive lead that slowly showed itself moving into dampening. Execute for kills. So XRB to the moon not only bring perfect defense, they now bring execution into their strategies. And with that together, I don't know if anyone can stop them.
And also, the other thing that you have to think about is XRB, like you said, they were that team to dampen a lot, and we always criticize teams for playing to their strategy. Now we see Tempo Storm playing to XRB's current strategy. That is a terrifying thing to do against one of the best teams in the world.
And I already like this adaptation coming in from XRB to the moon. Sit on top of Botar, get that cleave damage. The Restoration Shaman not as mobile as the Restoration Druid, so that's definitely one of the weaknesses Botar's going to have to contend with in this game, as we see Stormbolt Trinket already forced out, Earthen Wall Totem already down, double capstun, great opener for XRB.
XRB are dominating right now, really putting Botar on the back foot. He's opted to reposition away from the bot, actually running back to them, but he's just getting cleaved. Botar is playing the Restoration Shaman for a late game. He's doing the play to live strategy, trying to win off mana. XRB to the moon know that, so they're just running at him, putting the gas pedal straight down through the floor, running him down. Cyclones by Looney. This is what I mean. This is a completely different XRB to the moon. We have not seen them play like this throughout the entire year. Now they bring their unbreakable defense with insane offense. Look at the pressure. The entire team is dead, Adrian.
Yeah, I mean, this is XRB playing Turbo Cleave. They're just the best at it. They know every single in and out of this matchup, and they are looking fantastic. Botar trades out the Spirit Link, but it won't do anything, Sid. All three members dying. He's struggling so much. No defensive cooldowns remaining. Tempo Storm are very close to losing this game.
They do have good counter pressure, but they need to stay alive a bit longer. Both healers storm bolted. Botar in more trouble. Hangs on by a thread, trying to duck away from the executes of Blizzo, but he actually runs right back to him. Blizzo gets disarmed. He's going to pause the game out. Triple Sunder by Jamie. Nice move there. It's into the double cap totem. Jamie swinging the game back in his team's favor, but now Zeepai reverses with a Sunder of his own. Looney's Winchered, but everybody in this game could die at any second. Jamie's in execute range. He is going to fall first. XRB to the moon say, no way, you're not going to play the late game. We're going to chop you up before you're going to even...
Can happen in the remaining series throughout the day. BlizzCon can be affected, and XRB can find themselves on match point.
Tempo Storm tried to beat XRB to the moon at their own game, mirroring them in game 1 and then making a slight adaptation in game 2, but you're not going to beat XRB to the moon in their own home court. Now, Tempo Storm going back to a Mage Rogue composition. They're trying to take into consideration what worked the best for them overall. The Priest wasn't working because he was getting rushed down, so let's have Botar play Druid. The Windwalker wasn't really working down. It doesn't bring as much surprise pressure, so let's just bring in the Outlaw Rogue instead. instead. So Tempo Storm have really assessed what was working the best, and let's just combine them together and see how it works. They've still got a couple games. They're not on match point yet, as the finals is a best of 7. They've got good crowd control right now on Looney, putting Z-Pi behind. They've managed to force Astral Shift. Botar with a nice Cyclone at low health. Then they switch to Blizzo, trying to get that multi-target pressure against a Druid, force Looney to make a mistake. Tempo Storm start this game off strong.
They started off strong, but I mean, the only cooldown they really forced there was the Astral Shift. They didn't force Trinket on Z-Pi or Blizzo, and they committed the blind for that. So I actually think it's a pretty reasonable trade for XRB to the moon. And it's kind of similar to what I said. You lose some of the offense when you don't have a Discipline Priest. You lose some of that just raw damage. You lose the fear, obviously. The low Cyclone's great, but as soon as Z-Pi's out of that Cyclone, there's no stun DR. He's just able to top himself off with those healing surges, even if you cross-control Looney there. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it is a good start for them, but more just because the fact that Tempo Storm knows they have to kind of play into the long game, and the Outlaw's going to provide the utility to get them there.
Ouch, that gouge 1 second too late, and they were not able to follow up the crowd control chain. Alec got denied on that attempt, which is going to put them another setup behind. And Tempo Storm have been playing much more aggressively than I would have expected. Now Nixie we see doing what we saw Waz do in the first cup of this season, where he just pulls away, lets the Frost Mage snare up the entire team till they have those stuns, then they push in. Right now Botar getting swapped to XRB, trying to push the issue, forcing his hand, all of his defensive cooldowns at that point. He's got not a lot to work with if they can connect again, and they've got 1 minute and 40 seconds to do it. XRB to the moon. Man, this is probably the most improved team, I think, throughout the year. Their defense looked flawless at the start of this year, but we always criticized them on their offense and their setups. They were lacking in that regard. Nice read by Z-Pi. He pre-astral shifts the incoming attack during the blind sap. Z-Pi could have been eradicated in that position, but he's just in their heads. He read that situation perfectly and denies a kill. Tempo Storm, what can they do?
I mean, this is the thing. When you play against a player as good as Z-Pi, you get the blind, you have to wait a global for the stun, and Z-Pi has already reacted in that time. If they do the stun first, then Looney will react with the Iron Bark. This team always on the ball, always paying attention to what their opponents are doing, and like you say, reading them like a book there. We also saw Blizzo contributing the War Banner on the sap, denying the crowd control chain even further, and this is what makes XRB such a good team, and they find the offensive opportunities, as you were also talking about. Botar without a Trinket now, they can get another swap over onto him. Unfortunately, they won't have the Ascendance for it, since they committed that in the opener to force that Trinket, but now it's just kind of both the teams resetting a little bit. No one really has any major offensive cooldowns, though. Maybe Alec will try and catch Z-Pi out in the middle. It could be a great opportunity for them, since he doesn't have the Astral Shift.
We're in the middle of a best of 7 grand finals, Europe's region, with two teams that have the most to prove. Tempo Storm's performance throughout the year has been lackluster at best. They decided to make the move in replacement Boyke with Botar. It's managed to get them to the finals, but they might be hitting a brick wall. XRB to the moon have rounded out their strategies to not only bring unbreakable defense, but insane offense and setups as well. And at this point, Tempo Storm, I think, are going to need a miracle. Botar's been getting cheeky, making these stealth plays that allowed him to sneak in range and get a stun before being crowd controlled himself. That's top-level Druid play. Botar's back. He's ready to make his name really show what it means moving towards BlizzCon, but they've only got 2 more games to work with. If XRB can just close this out, it might just be a clean sweep.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking very much like that. We'll have to see how the game does change going into dampening, but so far Looney's look very comfortable. Every single time you see that frozen orb combined with the ice form from Alec, there's always an Iron Bark to answer on him. And I mean, there they did a swap to Blizzo. Once again, Iron Bark comes out completely fine. We see Avatar committed now. They're going after Nixie. Like I said, he is a bit of an exposed target, though he has a few more defensive cooldowns and utilities, kiting, etc., playing that outlaw specialization.
Tempo Storm trying to play for dampening. They've been focusing on defense, 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 but you're going defense head-to-head against XRB to the moon. That's what they were known for the entire year. I don't know if it's going to work out for them. We're going to have to wait and see. As dampening has finally entered the arena, it's going to be reducing the effectiveness of all incoming heals. It's going to force healers to trade cooldowns in situations that they otherwise wouldn't, or potentially just go down through the defense because they simply can't heal anymore. Things are going to get more and more intense. Tempo Storm are the ones who are trying to play for dampening. They want it as high as possible, build up a massive wave of damage, hit XRB to the moon all at once when they can't recover. It's up to XRB to rush Tempo Storm down before they can reach critical mass.
I mean, XRB to the moon. Their Tempo Storm made a little bit of a blunder. I think Nixie blinded into the War Banner. Either that or still DR from the Cyclone coming in from Botar. Either way, that's another offensive push mitigated. XRB to the moon now looking to get aggressive on their own. We see Zeepai constantly going for those hexes, and that's another fantastic thing the Shamans can do. They can just look for hexes, be annoying, shut down the Mage, something that Zeepai, of all people, is exceedingly good at, and just tunnel down Nixie in this situation. Dampening those starting to stack, and this is where the question will really come. You can see even Botar spamming out those solo rafts. They're just trying to kind of test the waters here. How much damage can Looney truly heal through? He has the full mana pool, but he has to perfectly estimate this damage every single time, because if he over or under reacts, it could just be game.
Well-timed drink there by Looney. So Looney realized that this is going to be going for a long game. He was losing on mana, so he decided to kind of duck out of the fight for a second, sit down for a drink, regenerate mana back to full, so he can be at the same capacity as Botar as we move deeper into dampening, where things become increasingly stressful for both teams. You can see that Looney and Botar are playing on opposite ends of the map from each other. They don't want to risk getting crowd control, but Tempo Storm pull the trigger. This setup, Zeepai read the situation again, and Astral shifted right before that crowd control was initiated. I don't know if Zeepai is a shaman or a mind reader. Is he a priest? I don't know, because right now it's impossible for Tempo Storm to get through that. If every single time Zeepai reads a situation, it's not looking too good. At the same time, XRB, they need to start getting on target. They've managed to force Botar's Tree of Life. He's not going to have that big bounce back recovery for another 3 minutes. In that window, they need to work down the Gladiator medallions of either Botar or Nixie. I would like to see some swapping from XRB to the moon. They're really just hammering down on one target. I think attacking Nixie while walking towards another target is their best option. That way they're more likely to force a mistake, land a stun in a less defensive position, and force the Gladiator's medallion to remove that stun, and then later have that option with it not available. This bash on Nixie has forced Botar to use Iron Bark, one defensive cooldown out of the way. As dampening ramps up, that cooldown is less effective. You can say that, that's already starting to sink in as Nixie isn't fully recovering through that situation. Botar spending more mana now to recover. Alec pulls the trigger on Ice Form. He's just going to go for raw pressure. Ebon Bolt Flurry swaps that over to Blizzo, realizing that Iron Bark was used on Zeepai. And Tempo Storm, the way they win this is with multi-target pressure. Attacking one, force a cooldown, swap targets, attack the other one, burst it down as quickly as possible. If Tempo Storm initiate that kind of setup deeper into dampening, they could put a point on the board.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's one of the reasons I'd actually like to see Alex saving a little bit more of that burst, because at the start as the Frost Mage, he's actually going for the Frozen Orb immediately on the swap, which is kind of prompting either the Astral Shift or the Iron Bark. And he's also committing Comet Storm and kind of like all his burst. We see another War Banner there, narrowly missing out on the blind from Blizzo. Good attempt though. We see Zeepai once again preemptively gets the Astral Shift down, but because they forced that defensive cooldown, now Alex should be saving a lot of his damage to kind of swap it over to Blizzo without those damage mitigating cooldowns. It's something that I'd love to see them going for more and more, but once again, the cooldowns come out, traded by Zeepai, and I mean, we've got to commend Zeepai here, because every single time within that one kind of second gap, there's a blind. You have 1 second on that global before Nixie, and he's always getting the Astral Shift up. If it was the other way around, the Iron Bark would come out from Looney, and they're using the space to their advantage. This was Tempo Storm's map pick.
Yeah, 3 times in a row, Zeepai shuts Tempo Storm down. Tempo Storm are just going to rely on that massive wave of damage deep into dampening to get a kill, because otherwise they can't get through the defense of XRB to the moon. They're playing flawlessly at this point. And Tempo Storm have set themselves up for the late game. They've still got all their Gladiators medallions. They still have a lot of defensive cooldowns. And the way they're going to use those cooldowns is to buffer themselves for a big push. So to make themselves more durable, stand in the face of XRB, and then push them over with damage and deep dampening. And they've set themselves up perfectly for that situation. At this point, it's actually looking better and better for Tempo Storm. It's up to XRB to find an opening, but on Tolvaron Arena, they can't so easily gun down Botar. He can just play very far away and avoid damage and overextend them. And if Blizzo makes even one mistake on his positioning, he could get erased by Alec. Right now, they've locked Blizzo down as Looney was looking for a drink. Looney jumps in, bashes Alec, managed to get the human Rachel. Alec blinks out of range of Cyclone. Looney shapeshifts the Poly to avoid it. Looney really wants to go for the Cyclone. He gets it on Alec. These Cyclones from Looney could be game-breaking into dampening. Looney has to be the setup for his team. If he can get some Cyclones Cyclones on Botar. They've managed to force Nixie's defensive lineup. They've gotten through the Tree of Life. Tempo Storm are starting to crack a bit here. They're almost at critical mass. They just need to make it a little bit longer, but Looney could be the X factor for XRB to turn this game in their favor.
Yeah, we've hit that point of dampening now. We're about, I think, 11 minutes into the game, 36% dampening, where it's going to be really hard for both of these healers. The fact that Botar traded out that Tree of Life there is huge, because that is the massive incoming healing cooldown that he is opting for, rather than a talent choice like Looney with the Cultivation, which is a little bit more overall healing. So Botar now going to be basically losing out on that benefit for the rest of the game.
He did it again!
All blind coming out onto Looney once again, though, answered by the Astral Shift on Zeepai. But, I mean, at the same time, every single outplay XRB are doing, we talked about the offensive gameplay. They're really struggling to get anything going. Trinket's still available for Nixie and Botar. Damage constantly crashing in from Alec. I actually still give the edge to Tempo Storm in this game.
But there are signs of life with Nixie burning through that riposte. He can't activate that to parry attacks, which is really effective against 2 melee classes. They have to rely on Iron Bark. But in deep dampening, that cooldown's not as effective. Nixie trades Feint as Botar is crowd control. Alec is supporting. Good teamwork on Tempo Storm's part. They are still not at that critical wave point yet. If Zeepai was bowling, he's pretty much played a perfect game every single time. He gets that Astral Shift nailed down with the blind, which is important because with Blinding Powder, it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. Astral Shift as well, but Zeepai has to outplay the situation to survive it, and he's done it, I think, 5 times in a row. Any other Shaman would not be doing this, and it's not leaving any openings for Tempo Storm, which is why we're getting to such excessive levels of dampening. I'm not sure if they have the damage to push Zeepai over, and now luckily for Tempo Storm, Riposte is becoming available. They're posturing themselves again in a good position, but they need to hammer down on a big push at some point into this match, or potentially Nixie could get taken out.
But I mean, we talk about all these plays from XRB to the moon. I'm just starting to wonder if it actually matters. Like, where is the opening? It doesn't seem like there is one. They can't kill Alec. He's a Frost Mage kiting away. They can't kill Botar because he's max ranging, utilizing this massive map. And Nixie, who could potentially be the kill target, if you're a melee right now, you're running one of these melees that has a lot of mobility, such as the Feral, such as the Windwalker, such as this Outlaw Rogue, you should just watch what Nixie's doing. Every single time he has his stuns up, as we see a beautiful Vortex coming in, he's going for the kill. But whenever they don't have pressure, he's just using that mobility, kiting away, denying any opening for XRB, and 48% dampening in. It's Looney who's falling behind.
So Zeepai went for that preemptive play. Tempo Storm predicted it and went on a different target, which baited Zeepai to use a defensive in a situation that he didn't need to. They managed to bank Blizzo's defensive and also now split pressure on Zeepai. That split pressure against a Druid is exactly what Tempo Storm need to win. We are getting to insane levels of dampening, 50% reduction of healing. Both Druids maintaining their mana with drinks throughout this. They know that they're trying to play it out for any critical mass point, but at this point, Blizzo and Zeepai are both vulnerable. Looney has to make a hard decision on where to use his Iron Bark. If he uses it on Zeepai, Tempo Storm switch their aim to Blizzo and can push him over. Alec has Ice Form in 7 seconds. Adrenaline Rush popped. Tempo Storm are trying to finally push XRB to the moon over. Nixie gets Storm Bolted though, looking to reverse pressure. Botar in position to deny it, mashing out Regross. There's the stun. Alec is spamming up Polymorphs to try and catch Looney, but he has not caught Looney once with these cheeky Polymorph attempts. XRB to the moon have played perfect defense in this game, but even despite that, Tempo Storm have crafted a strategy that it may not just matter. These hexes on Alec could be an opening. If they can get hex on Alec, that allows Looney to move in, but there's the blind. Zeepai trades Trinket. We're at such high dampening points that you have to trade cooldowns. You can't be greedy anymore. If you are, you're just simply gonna fall over. Blizzo doesn't have much. Looney denies the kill. They disarm Nixie, but he activates that riposte. He's gonna stay in the fight. Looney moves in. He gets Botar's Trinket, but now Botar trinkets and reverses with a bash of his own, and Blizzo is all alone in center field with tons of damage flying at him. Tempo Storm looking to close this out, but Blizzo still denies it with an intimidating shout onto 2 members. XRB stay in the fight, fighting valiantly to the bitter end, but critical mass, it has to be soon.
I mean, actually, maybe Tempo Storm made the error here. They don't have any defensives for Nixie. No Trinket on him. Botar, no Trinket, no Iron Bark, no Riposte. This could be the opening. XRB have been waiting about 15 minutes for. Botar and Nixie are both exposed at this moment in time, though dampening at critical mass. Zeepai might just die to the raw damage coming out of Tempo Storm. Iron Bark in the nick of time. Will it be enough though? Do they have the Stormbolt for Nixie? He has his trinket available. Once again, I wonder if the opening has disappeared for XRB to the moon. They're trying to connect over to Botar, but there's no trinket on Blizzo. There's no trinket on Zeepai. This next stun from Nixie could well be the game.
I mean, at this point, Tempo Storm, if you're not going to win at 64% dampening, when are you going to win? Blizzo, he's in a 3-on-2. Looney's still crowd control, but Nixie is he actually going to go down? He barely survives. Botar saves him. Blind on Looney. Zeepai's got basically nothing to work with. That's such deep dampening. They commit the stun, but he pre-astral shifts. Blizzo is hiding for his lives. XRB are quivering. They played a perfect defense, but there's been no openings for them to find a kill. Really, it's Nixie. He's the one that needs to not throw the game. He should just rely on Alex pressure, and it's exactly what he's doing. He pulls away to bait Blizzo to chase him down. They have to go for it. They've got nothing left. We're getting to the highest dampening I think we've ever seen in the history of the game at this point. Blizzo's just hovering at 30%, trying to do whatever he can to stay alive, but Botar's got Tree of Life. There's almost no possibility that they can kill through that defense. Blizzo leaps and he fears it. They've got 5 seconds to kill Nixie. 1 second left to kill Nixie. Are they going to be able to do this? No way. Tempo Storm have been playing for this critical mass, but it's slowly turned maybe in XRB's favor as defense is blown completely out on both sides.
Botar's actually run out of mana at this point. This is the trouble. Nixie either needs to go for a full reset here and completely disappear from the map, and he will do that with the Vanish. This is the opportunity for Botar to drink. Love this play from Nixie. Clean Vanish behind the pillar. Botar drinking. Full reset for Tempo Storm. Surely this will be game. Alec will, of course, have those blizzards, have those frozen orbs, and he's completely safe. Hasn't used an ice block the entire game. He can push in. Nixie, all he needs to do now is not get caught out. Trinket up in about 15 seconds. He'll just sit in stealth until that trinket comes back. Next time he has the stuns, use it on Zeepai, go for the kill. Looney Tempo Storm with a clean execution here will finish the game, but we're already at 75% dampening.
Nixie, Looney went for a risky play. He wanted to get Shadow Sight to pull Nixie or Botar out of stealth. Nixie tried to punish it, but he doesn't want to risk throwing the game, so Nixie grappling hooks out of the fight. At dampening at 76%, you can't make a mistake. One stun and you're going to be done. Nixie needs to be careful. He's been the primary kill target throughout this whole game. He trinkets, he trades, he goes for the blind. Yep. He tries to get a kill in this final moment. Zeepai deflects with Astral Shift. It's a race to the finish at this point. Who's going to fall first, Nixie or Zeepai? Both of them have basically nothing to work with. Dampening is at the most insane level we've ever seen in the game. Nixie decides to escape. He doesn't want to risk it. He's relying on Alec to carry, but Grounding Totem, Wind Shear, there's too much disruption. Alec can't do enough damage on his own. Botar gets caught in a bash. They switch some attention. He barskins instantly, but then they switch back to Nixie. The intimidating cow can easily close the game. Nixie's gonna fall. The overlap. Tempo Storm trying to play for the long game. What is that polymorph? You cannot afford to heal Blizzo back to full. Botar's still low. Of course they're going to play it out. I mean, at 81% dampening, nobody can heal. Why wouldn't you at least try? But Botar's going to fall. Tempo Storm loose on their best map.
Tempo Storm really threw at the end of that one. They overlapped the trinket on Botar.
In the previous games where it came down to 1 global or 2 globals, maybe they feel like we can just do it a little bit better and actually beat them at this. They obviously believe that they are the better team, so...
Well, let's see if they are, because XRB is within striking distance of winning the final EU Grand Final of the year and heading into BlizzCon with all of the momentum in the world.
Yeah, both these teams have a lot to prove their performances throughout the years. I would say that XRB to the Moon was on an upward trajectory. On the other hand, Tempo Storm has just not been able to get anything done throughout the year. This is the first time we've seen them in the Grand Finals. They look to stay alive in it. They need to reverse sweep 4 games in a row. Can Botar, the returning 2-time BlizzCon champion, be what Tempo Storm needs to do that?
I mean, Botar already got them to their first Grand Final. That's a fantastic achievement in itself. The acolytes on this guy are absolutely unbelievable. 2-time BlizzCon champion, 3rd last year, but I mean, who won last year? It was Alec and Nixie on this roster. They have everything going for them, but so far, XRB to the Moon, not only have they been a wall for Tempo Storm, they've been a wall for every single team in Europe, especially in Battle for Azeroth. Looney in particular, we've commended him on his fantastic play, and once again, this is Turbo. This is their main composition that they've drafted. They've beaten everyone with it, and Tempo Storm starting to fall behind once again here.
XRB to the Moon are smashing crushing Tempo Storm right now. They've managed to force so many cool to Jimmy needs to get Tremor. He manages to get it. They've got good pressure now on Zeepai. Looney bounces back with Iron Bark. It's unlikely that he would go down through that, but now Botar doesn't have that option. He gets wind sheared by Zeepai. Jamie hovering at 50%. Tempo Storm have been going for more cheeky swaps on Looney in this specific matchup, and maybe that's their only way to win is to catch Looney off guard. Blizzo dips low. Nixie gets disarmed. He's in trouble. Wind shear lands. Rally on 10% allows Nixie to stay in the fight a couple seconds longer. Looney moves in for some clutch plays, looking for some Cyclones. Gets one on Jamie. He can't support the team now. Looney has been just playing more aggressive than Botar in these matchups. Botar's been playing much more passively, and Looney throughout this series has been the game changer, even though it's only very sparingly. When he does it, it's effective. The entire team at 50% health. XRB to the moon in the driver's seat, looking to clean sweep in the last tournament before the global finals at BlizzCon. This is looking like the team to beat.
I mean, XRB to the moon, second in the first cup. If they could pick up a second first place here, as having obviously won last week as well, that would be about as good as it gets in terms of momentum. Then we would be talking about them and potentially the Ghosty crew as being maybe the teams to beat if Ghosty crew can repeat their feat from last week as well. Looney has been a big part of that. But Jamie, on the flip side, we know what he could do. If Stop Strike Botar, though, gets the same on the other side. XRB win the race, and they win the grand final.
Raikou right now being like, no, I can run
Outlaw.
I can do it again. And that's kind of the big question when we look at the bracket here, because they didn't necessarily have the compositions that would allow them to get as deep in brackets as they traditionally are. I mean, they've won majority of the grand finals that we've watched. They weren't even in this one. You didn't see Method Black getting taken out by Skill Cap Red in the lower quarterfinals. And honestly, look at the lower semis. That is one that truly did catch my attention, because we got Skill Cap Red and the Deleters, two teams that truly next year